Hello and welcome to another episode. Today I'm really excited to talk about an amazing old school Nintendo game that I think probably a lot of people have forgotten. I'm talking about Tombs and Treasures. Released in North America for the NES by Infocom in 1989, Tombs and Treasures was a really crazy but really fun game. I remember when I first got this game back in the day, I bought it off Johnny. Now this is back before he and I were hanging out when he was a friend of my brother's. One thing that we both shared in common was video games, and whenever he'd visit my brother, we'd talk about them. And really, this was one of the few times when he had a game that he wanted to sell, because he had bought it and he couldn't finish it. It didn't rub him the right way. He didn't really enjoy it. And so he phoned me up and said, look, do you want to buy this game off me for like 20 bucks? And I said, yeah, I loved a challenge. I loved any kind of game. So I said, yeah, absolutely. And he came over and dropped it off, and I bought it from him. This is an insanely hard game. I mean, I understand why it was frustrating for him at the time, but what an amazing game it is. What Tombs and Treasures is an adventure puzzle RPG. Now there's a whole mishmash of different gameplay styles put together in here, but it really works well. The first gameplay style that you have is your standard screen for when you're looking at one of the ruins or one of the places you have to explore, and it's kind of reminiscent of Shadowgate. You have a small window on the right that's got sort of pictures of what you're seeing, and you've got several icons to the left of that for the different actions you can do. And you've also got the description of where you are at the top and a little box at the bottom that describes what you're seeing and what you're doing as it goes. Now, the second gameplay style is traditional turn-based RPG combat. There were enemies in this. Every time you got to a new area or a new puzzle, there was an enemy to fight first. And it was literally just attack. Attack, 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 attack. There was no defend, no spells, there was just an icon for attacking. The final gameplay style was the overworld, and it was like a top-down view, kind of like Legend of Zelda, and you could see the three members of your party walking around exploring. Now, this game has a huge world map. I mean, it is enormous, and yet the number of places you can actually explore is quite small, so you can get lost so fast. It's just crazy. The storyline is a fairly straightforward one for adventure games of the time. The main character and his girlfriend are searching some ancient Mayan ruins to find out why the girl's father disappeared. When you start, there are two characters, the boy and the girl, that you name yourself. There are no presets for the story mode, so you can absolutely choose any name you want. And they meet up with Jose, who is, of course, the local resident expert for the Mayan ruins, because in the culturally sensitive 80s, the Mexican guy should be named Jose. My absolute favorite part of the opening narration is when the character actually says, "And since it was summer vacation, we decided to go and solve the mystery of his disappearance." The game has so much going for it. Now, the music in the game is really fantastic. It's incredibly atmospheric and really suited to the kind of creepy, almost abandoned feel of the areas that you explore. It's got really cool art, very classic anime style. If you remember a lot of the anime-based games of the 80s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The creature designs were very unique. I really liked them for the enemies. They were really cool and they were animated. They'd sort of move around the screen, or they had some simple animations for them. Now, it is by far and away not a perfect game. There are a few fairly frustrating points that should be made. One, a lot of the puzzles are very obscure. Like I said, you don't get a whole lot of hints or direction as to where you need to go or what you need to do. Now, you can add to this mix the fact that certain puzzles need to be done by certain members of the party because you can rotate through them. An excellent example of something like this is at one point you have to walk into this round pyramid and there's just a pedestal in the center. You have to place a silver globe in it, then change characters to the girl, get her to play a flute, and then a beam of light will shoot out of the globe and across the map. You have to go to where that was, look where it's shining, break open a brick, take out a gold globe, go back to that pyramid with the round top, pull out the silver globe, put up the gold globe, go to the girl again, get her to play the flutes, go back over to the same area of columns, break open another brick, pull out a giant silver head, and then go back to the same round top pyramid, take the gold orb out, change to Jose, get him to push the round pedestal, and it opens a door in the wall that leads up some stairs to a room with another gold pedestal that you have to put another orb onto, and then you have to wait with the stopwatch for a certain point of time in the day when the globe will shoot a light beam to the wall, etc. Nobody to tell you any hints on how to do that. That was just crazy. So yeah, it's fairly challenging, especially if you don't have a walkthrough. Now, one thing this game does have to help you along a little bit is a really nice world map. What's really important about this map is the fact that there are descriptions and hints written next to each of the areas on it to give you at least some clue as to where you need to go and what you need to do. They're very, very broad and very generalized, but they were something to help things along. Without that, you would have been totally lost. The final fun bit with this game is that once you finish it and all the credits have rolled, there's a picture of the main guy and girl. If you play with the controller, you can actually move the eyes of both characters and the girl's mouth, which is kind of neat. It's like a little bit of an Easter egg right at the end. I always thought that was kind of funny, and I'm not sure why they put it in, but it always stuck with me as being kind of strange and fun. Tombs and Treasures was released by Infocom in North America in 1989, but the game was originally made in Japan by none other than the infamous Falcom. Now, the original version in Japan was released for the MSX and the PC-88. Those versions were very different from this one. They didn't have any other characters than the main guy, and they didn't have the combat. It was a straight puzzle adventure game. So they wanted to change things up a little bit for the NES version, so they added the combat. But the way you level up for that is by solving puzzles and finding items. So really, if you're unable to beat one of the enemies, it simply means you've missed something and you need to keep looking around until you find it. Now, Azteca 2 did also see release on Windows 98 and the Sega Saturn in Japan, but that version was based on the MSX one, so it'll bear not a lot of resemblance to the NES Classic. Anyways, guys, I just really wanted to talk about this forgotten gem from the NES days, Tombs and Treasures. A really great game full of really fond memories, but if you're going to play it these days, I highly recommend the walkthrough. Anyway, guys, until next time.